I was 6'3", 220, ran a 4.4, and I thought I was going to the NFL, and then I had a career-ending injury. And that was pivotal for me. If I look back in hindsight, one of the greatest things that probably ever happened.
Purpose-driven living, that's the motto. Purpose-driven living, boy, that's the motto. If God orders my steps, then I'ma follow. We just steward the gifts that we borrow. Purpose-driven living.
Well, good day, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the new series, Driven. I have a special guest with me today, my brother Raymond Brown. And this Driven series has been focused really on highlighting regular people living out purpose-driven lives. And so for me, this particular series, you've heard me say it before, is really birthed out of struggling with imposter syndrome, right? Am I good enough to do X, Y, Z? I see myself as a professional, as a rapper, as somebody that's an entrepreneur, a creative, all these different aspects of my identity. Just struggling with, the confidence piece of, can I actually do this? How do I do this? How do I live out all of these different identities, right? And my brother Ray, we was talking offline before this session here, about just sort of jealousy. But the other thing was really looking at seasons of our life. And so one of the things that, sort of thinking from a big picture level is, how do I maximize, my responsibilities as maybe a leader, maybe as an entrepreneur, maybe as a family man or somebody that has children or responsibilities. There are seasons of our lives fluctuating. So Driven hopefully can be a blessing to you all as you sort of take whatever nuggets that you can glean from our speakers, our guests here, and apply it to your life. And so my brother Ray Brown here, we have a history. We played ball back at JMU together, right? Ray, you can't kind of tell, this guy is a specimen, man. We used to play noon ball together at JMU on our lunch breaks, and he would just dunking on people. Right? And then they got to go back to work after they get dunked. But my brother Ray Brown, he's a husband, he's a father, he's a professional within organization development and training and development, ministry leader, speaker, community leader, someone that I look to for not just as a friend, but honestly as a mentor. And so without further ado, I really want to introduce Ray Brown. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ray, your background, what you do, man.
Yeah, thank you, Quintrell, for that humble introduction. Just for the record, Quintrell is a physical specimen also. And if I have anything to boast about, it's only because Quintrell, he helped me along the way by challenging me. So thank you, brother. Thank you for having me. Thank you for doing what you're doing right now, man. It's a model for a lot of folks out there who desire to do the same thing, man. So thank you for allowing me to contribute. Yeah, like Quintrell said, we go back. He met me at James Madison University, where I was able to, get a full scholarship to play football. But I think my story goes back just a little bit before that. I grew up in a home. Both my parents were not around. They were both drug addicts at the time, and so I found myself in a situation growing up where I had to kind of figure things out pretty quickly on my own. Either be friends or family members, just finding places to sleep. And by God's grace, I had an opportunity to work at Outback Steakhouse, and that was actually really good because I got to eat. I could provide for myself, and luckily there were some coaches out there who saw me walking the halls at my school and asked me to play ball, and I ended up playing. I think played 2 years, and James Madison University saw me and they offered me a scholarship. So that was great. Coming up through school, and to some extent I was. I was 6'3", 220, ran a 4.4, and I thought I was going to the NFL, and then I had a career-ending injury. And that was pivotal for me. If I look back in hindsight, one of the greatest things that probably ever happened to me. But as a young man, coming from inner city, the only thing that is told to you is that you only can make it if you're a rapper or a sports player. And so that.
Hi, at Lenore Coaching, we work with a wide variety of job seekers, including students, early career professionals, and experienced professionals, with services including job search strategy, career exploration, personal branding, networking, interview preparation, as well as resume and cover letter writing. So you guys can contact us first by reaching out to our website, which is www.lenorecoaching.com.
You can also contact us via social media. We have Instagram and Facebook pages, Lenore Coaching LLC.
The sports was taken from me, and so I have a pivotal moment in my life where I didn't know, what was next. And so, luckily I had some mentors along the way who helped me transition out of the sport. I turned my attention to my studies and I ended up getting a job back at Outback Steakhouse, which was really great. And luckily I got into a grad program. And it was within that grad program where I started to formalize like what it is that I was really already passionate about. The grad program actually started already putting language to what I was already doing. And what that was, I just naturally had this inclination towards like helping people see the best in themselves and helping to draw out their potential. And a lot of that manifested itself in how I actually showed up. Even when I was an athlete, some of the team members that I had on the football team I would lead. And then subsequently helping James Madison University actually develop one of their first rookie symposiums. We helped all new incoming rookies and transfers kind of understand the lay of the land, their own values, and to just map out a plan for them to be successful right out the gate. And that came birthed out of seeing all of my friends coming up through college, some of my closest friends all flunk out. So it was my desire to kind of create a program where that would never happen again, that everybody be made aware up front of their struggles and challenges, but know that they were supported. At the time, I didn't know what I was doing. I was helping create a program, a training that was helping people learn more about themselves and then understand how that applies to kind of the setting they're going to go into. And that actually translated over into my master's degree, which is human resource development. And that's really helping organizations develop systems to help train up their employees and create the environments for their employees to flourish. And so after graduating from that, James Madison University actually hired me on into their talent development department, where I served for 5 years. And that was great. Stood up in the classroom, did all kinds of training. It could be customer service, leadership development, strategic planning, just all kinds of stuff. But for me, I recognized training was great. Being in the classroom was great. But what I really had desire to do was go work with leaders and their teams and help leaders grow and be the best leaders they can. And then help those leaders lead those teams well. And I saw just a lot of great just impact in that.
Wow.
All along the way while this is happening, I met my wife. I was right before grad school. She was a teacher at the time. We got engaged while we were in grad school, and we got married back in 2012. And we were pregnant within like 3 months. So from 2012 to about 2018, we've been having kids. So we have 4 kids. My youngest is 2. My next one's 3. My third oldest is 6, and my oldest is 7. So we got girl, boy, and it's
Wow.
just great. So just a lot of energy. That's my first aim and focus is loving my wife well and growing them well, and then growing and training up my kids. And then as a family, we help serve in our local community. Most of our time is spent at our local church, where I also serve as one of the leaders, pastors at the church, where most of my focus there is also helping train up leaders who actually host people into their homes so they will have places to grow and feel like they're growing in their faith. So yeah, it's been a journey, but I think in all areas of my life, either be at work, in my community, even as I can look back as far as I can, it's been the same theme. And I just have a desire to help grow people and grow teams and grow organizations.
Wow. Man, your story is phenomenal. And I think what I appreciate hearing is like, you've done sort of some self-assessment along the way. It sounds like you've used some internal processing, seeing what you're naturally good at. I keep hearing this repeat theme of being able to influence others and have a positive impact. And so I definitely sense that about, the different areas of your life, obviously as a family man, but like the work that you've chosen to do vocationally,
Yeah.
in organization development, and then obviously as a ministry leader. Before we dive into those areas, I'm curious to hear, man, with your background, Ray, somebody like yourself, because I know you personally, but really like, folks that sort of grow up with, athletics as being the ticket, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And I can imagine, you growing up in Baltimore, those are the options that you saw, somebody that either played sports to get out, or rapped or did something otherwise. And so I'm curious for you, did you ever feel any pressure to like, hey, it's the NFL or this is it for me? And then how was that transition? Because it sounds like you were forced to transition from sports pretty abruptly.
Hey family, it's your boy Quintrell Lenore here with brand new merch to keep you guys looking good this season. We have long sleeve, short sleeve, as well as hoodies. Check us out at gumroad.com/PDL apparel. We got all the swag you need to stay covered in purpose.
Yeah. So, as you think about where I was at, I can't even say I had a strong desire to play sports. This is really funny. So I had a couple guys around me who were already playing football, and I was watching these guys get looks at colleges. And this might sound, I don't know, really just serendipitous, but I literally said, if that guy can get a scholarship, maybe I can.
Yeah.
Because really for me, the driving motivation at that particular point was like, I needed to get out of where I was. I had an unhealthy, dysfunctional upbringing. And I knew that if I stayed around, because I saw the trajectory of all the other guys who were in my neighborhood, I just didn't want that for my life. And so I did give myself to sports, and particularly with that end in mind, I need to get out of my situation. I didn't know when I got the opportunity, I got into college, I don't know if I had any purpose at that point. It was just, I got out.
Wow.
And so I think it was when the opportunity was taken from me is when I started to have to reassess at that point. And I had to look back and say, Raymond, why were you playing football?
Right.
And I had a couple guys who were some friends of mine who said, Raymond, you always said if you could come to college and not have to play ball, you would take it. So here's your opportunity. And that was good. That was a good reminder to me. I had the gift of, even though it came by way of an injury, but of going to school without having to play ball. And that was such a gift to me. So, that situation did kind of help catalyze my shifting of my thought, or at least my intentionality that I need to add to my thought. Because up to that point, I was just happy to be out of where I came from.
Wow.
So yeah, that's kind of how the transition in my mindset. And I also played it out like, you think about the average career of an NFL football player. One, the odds of getting there is just very slim.
Right.
But even going, the average career, I think, is somewhere between 2 and 3 years. So then I asked myself, in 2 or 3 years, then what? And then where are those guys? So I mean, I guess it's the way my mind processes life, but I really had to play that out. And it just felt like the wisest choice to just hunker down and then focus on my schoolwork, and really start to, at that point, build a network of men who I thought were doing really great stuff, and then asking a lot of questions. I just became very curious about success. So any of the men that I thought that I saw being successful, I just set up these appointments. I remember I must have been a junior or a senior. I'm setting up the meetings with the VPs at JMU, with the athletic director. I think you remember Jeff Bourne, just sitting with these individuals. And the one thing I've learned about success, people want to pour into somebody who want to be successful. And so as a young man, asking for these meetings, people wanted to give their time to me. And so I soaked it up, and it was such a gift to me along the way. I learned a lot of insight. I gained a lot of wisdom that I think exponentially helped me past a lot of challenges that I probably would have walked into if I didn't just humble myself to get some of that insight early on. So yeah, that's those men along the way also, and women, definitely some strong women along the way who really helped. Ms. Gant, she's one of the ones who's coming to my mind as I think about people who give me strong insight to help guide me. So
that's awesome.
Just being reminded of.
Hey, what's going on, family? Do not forget to check out the music that inspired the movement, PDL. This project is by yours truly, Quintrell Lenore. It's streaming on all major platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, you name it, go check it out. This project was produced by Dilly Got It Bumpin'. It's awesome music to help you guys stay motivated and to worship in this season.
Why, I got into football in the first place, and then couple on that with like some mentors who can start refocusing me forward.
That's good, man. I really appreciate you sharing that. What sort of jumps out to me is, the power in asking a question and networking, right? you're naturally like somebody that just sort of that asks questions, that's, you know, inquisitive by nature. A lot of folks aren't really like that. We'll kind of get in our shell, especially, you know, I can imagine, you know, looked at your situation from, you know, your football career ending as an opportunity. You know, for somebody, this would be a grieving process. They would have a way to cope with it. And I'm sure, like for you, there's some grieving processes, but you really looked at it logically. Like your whole motivation to go to college, it sounds like, was I need to get here in order to get out of my current situation. And then from there, you know, from, you know, being able to transition from sports, you're really taking a very logical approach. Like what is sort of my long-term game plan, maybe career-wise from there. So I appreciate you sharing that. Shout outs to Miss Gant.
Yeah.
Mr. White and Mr. Bourne at Jam.
Yep. Purpose driven living, that's the motto. Purpose driven living, boy, that's the motto. If God orders my steps, then I'ma follow. We just steward the gifts that we borrow. Purpose driven.